these three elements come together to define American masculinity, that men are defined by this mobility, by their connection to cars, and by rock and roll. And I'm currently working on a book on women in cars, looking at the history of those two things together. And in the midst of working on that, I had been noticing a lot of significance of cars to his music. And I decided to embark on a study of those connections that I saw between Bruce Springsteen and automobiles. And out of that work, I studied not only his music, but also his album and single covers, and explored the importance of the automobile to his life. Bruce Springsteen really points to three key areas that come together in his persona. One, of course, is rock and roll. He's a musician, an acclaimed artist who has been a defining force in the American music scene. He also has tied together the importance of the automobile to American culture. Cars have been a defining American characteristic. If you look at the Beatles, they have hardly any references to cars, but the Beach Boys and Bruce Springsteen, cars are really central to American identity, and they are reflecting and shaping that for us. And finally, Bruce Springsteen himself describes the importance of mobility to his life. He talks about not wanting to stay in a hotel after playing a concert, but to get on the bus, to keep moving. He describes driving with his father, riding to nowhere, taking a ride, driving. He really sees the car as central to masculinity, central to the freedom that people have. And it's primarily a male freedom that he's describing, but he contrasts it to public transportation. In some of his songs, he positions men who are weaker as taking the bus, having to walk. With a song, he describes his father in the song as buying a used car, and even that is not enough. It has to be the real deal to really affirm your masculinity. And so I think he sees the car as really important to American life, and he notes that once he gets outside of cities, that's where you can really understand the importance to the car. Women are absolutely a part of Springsteen's music. And when he starts his musical career in 1970, only 50% of American women had driver's licenses. This is a real element in gender relations as they existed. So I'm not critiquing it as in a vacuum. It's part of American culture, and he's helping to shape that. Another really important part of his identity has been as a working class voice, and speaking to social reform. I mean, he has been, this is not new, his music has long spoken to the experiences of Vietnam vets or people with AIDS, or, you know, he's a real social justice believer, I think, at the core of his music. And so as he continues to grow and evolve as a musician, and as Americans continue to embrace him, I think we see a love of mobility and a love of justice, and those two things are really emblematic in his music.